Good day, and welcome to part 19 of our study of the book of Ecclesiastes. We're still in chapter 7, and today I want to go over three verses 7, 8, and 9. Now, in the first part of this chapter, Solomon made the point that it was better for a person to be in a house of mourning than in a house of mirth. It was better to be in a place of serious reflection than in a place of gaiety and just merriment. And the point was that you make a character, you build yourself up, you reflect more, you realize your own life, your own mortality, your own purpose more when you're in a place of serious reflection, in a place of mourning, in a place of serious need, than you are in a place of mirth, in a party, in something where there's only gaiety and lightheartedness going on. In those places you may find mirth, you may find happiness for a short period of time, but once that is over, then often emptiness ensues. So he's saying it's better as a whole to be in a place of seriousness, to be in a place where you can reflect on your own mortality, your own life, your own need, your own character, than it is in a place of mirth. So he says, to put it in his words, that it is better to go to the house of mourning than to the house of feasting. Sorrow is better than laughter, and the heart of the wise is in the house of mourning. And in the next part of the chapter, he says that it is better to hear the rebuke of the wise than for a man to hear the song of fools. In other words, it's better to hear wise criticism, honest rebuke, honest chastisement in a manner to build you up than it is to hear foolishness and foolish praise or idle praise from those who are just trying to get your attention or trying to work themselves into your favor. So, honest rebuke, honest criticism from a wise man is better than the song of a fool, is the way he puts it. And now, in this section, he's making another statement that the hard way is better than the easy way. And he puts it this way, that surely oppression destroys a wise man's reason, and a bribe debases the heart. What he's really meaning is this, that every person has to go through certain aspects of life which are difficult. There is a certain limit as to which most people can take. Now, you can talk about oppression as either being that which other people put upon you, such as people who feel either in reality or perception that they as a group are being oppressed or being downtrodden or being put upon. And as a result, there comes a limit as to what they're going to take. But there's another way of looking at this too, and that is we all have to do things which can be either hard or easy. If you're building a house yourself, you have to do it the proper way, with the proper materials, and at the proper time. If you try to take shortcuts, if you try to make easiness out of what is normally a difficult situation, if you try to make it easy by doing things, cutting corners, then this is what he's trying to get against. That it is better to do it the hard way, the long way, the proper way, than it is to cut corners and do it the easy way. And this is what he refers to by a bribe. A bribe debases the heart. A bribe is a shortcut. A bribe is something which someone does in order to make something else easy, in order to get around the real way of doing things, the proper way of doing things. So a bribe undercuts your character, a bribe undercuts your abilities to do things properly. So to do things the hard way, yes, it does take longer, and it is more difficult, and there is a limit as to what people can and will do. This is what he means by oppression can cause a wise man's reason. A person, if they're under too much pressure, if there's too much opposition, if there's too much oppression, even people who are calm and reasonable can lose their focus and lose the purpose for what they're doing. People start out in university, for instance, and find it too hard, but rather than persevering, trying to overcome their difficulties, they quit and they leave it. There's only so much that a person can take. There's oppression in a society which causes people also to do things which they otherwise would not do. There's only so much oppression that a person can take. But if you can work through it and not take shortcuts and not try to get around things the easy way, then what he says to follow is that the end of a thing is better than the beginning. When you go to university and graduate, the end is better than the first day. When you build a house and it's finished, the end is better than when you started. And when you get through a difficulty in life, when you actually can work your way through that difficulty, when you can work your way to the end, and you're satisfied, and it works out the way you want it to be, then the end is certainly better than the beginning. And this is what he's getting at. There are no shortcuts in life. Do things the way they should be done, the way they have to be done, the proper way. Do things in a way which is necessary to achieve the true purposes that you're looking for. And in the end of that will be better than the beginning. And he goes on to say, the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit, which really reflects what I've just been saying. That if you can be patient, if you can be patient and work things out to be done the proper way, the way that they need to be done, the correct way, so that the end result is what you really want, if you are humble enough to work through this, then the humble in spirit, the patient, those who are patient, works out better than those who are proud, arrogant, or headstrong in the way they look at things. So the humble, the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Do not hasten in your spirit to be angry, and for anger rests in the bosom of fools. The same thing applies to whether you're being oppressed or whether you're working at something and trying to get it done properly. If you become angry, if you become upset, if you become reactive, then it often ends up worse off than it would be if you just had some patience and let it work through in a calm, more conducive manner. It says, be angry. Do not be angry. Do not get yourself worked up. Do not become overly distraught with the situation, because anger really is foolish. Anger rests in the bosom of fools. Proverbs 4 verse 18 says, but the path of the just is like the shining sun that shines over ever brighter under the perfect day. If you are correct in what you are doing, and if you do it the proper way, then the way and the situation that you're trying to resolve will actually end up being better and brighter and more satisfactory than if you had done something else. In Psalm 125, verse 3, it says, For the scepter of the wicked shall not lie on the land allotted to the righteous. If people are righteous, if people do what they're supposed to do, it is very much more difficult for wickedness to fall upon them. It says, but the righteous reach out their hands to iniquity. In Ephesians 4:26-27, it says, be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun go down or give place to the devil. Anger is of the devil. So Solomon is saying in this short section, don't try to take shortcuts in life. Don't try to find things without going through it in the way in which we have to and are meant to go through it. Nothing is necessarily easy to most people. Even people who win the lottery, even people who get a lot of money without working for it, often find themselves in worse shape in the long run than if they had never been fortunate enough to have that windfall. It is necessary for most of us, for actually all of us, to work through things in a way that is proper, that we are meant to work through it. And sometimes it's hard. Nothing really comes that easy without working for it. But when you do it in the right way, when you do it in a way and can avoid being oppressed, you can avoid by the oppression that beats people, then you'll find that the end of what that situation is often better, is almost always better than the beginning. Have a humble heart. Have a patient spirit. Don't be proud or haughty, and don't overreact, which a haughtiness and a proud people often do. And do not hasten to be angry, because anger only accelerates problems. Anger rests in the bosom of fools. It is foolishness to become angry, especially over certain things which are very incidental and meaningless. So Solomon is saying here, not to take shortcuts, not to let oppression get to you. Try not to let it get you down. Try to work through things to the end, and then when you succeed, you'll find the end is better than the beginning. This is all for today. This is a short section, but I hope it's been of some interest and information to you. We'll go on to the next part of chapter 7 next week. That's all for now. Bye, and thanks for watching.